CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. I'm your host, Nick Qualia, sitting here with Mike Molyneux and with Marv Azan. Guys, we got 3 weeks of Patriots football down. They've beat the Dolphins, lost to the Seahawks barely, and then beat the Raiders pretty handedly. So we've got the Kansas City Chiefs next week. And the question is, so we record this on Monday. The Kansas City Chiefs are playing the Ravens tonight on Monday Night Football. But guys, after these first 3 weeks, here's the question. Do you guys feel confident enough that this team can beat the Chiefs next week? This is how I wrote it out. Do these first 3 weeks give you guys confidence that the Patriots can compete with Kansas City? And I even threw Baltimore in there too, because they're obviously elite of the elite in the AFC. So guys, there's the question. What do you think? Mike, what's your confidence level with this team and Kansas City?
After watching these 3 weeks of Patriots football, and especially me personally, continuing to keep an eye on what the defense is doing, I don't see this Patriots containing Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes and that offense. I just don't see it. Last week, or week 2 against the Seahawks, Russell Wilson pretty much had his way on offense.
He's the MVP right now.
He's the MVP right now. And against the Patriots, it was another showing of why he's in that MVP conversation, or he is currently the MVP. He had a hell of a game. Then you get to week 3 against the Raiders. Yes, the Patriots had a pretty convincing win, but Derek Carr didn't necessarily have a bad game. 24 of 32, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked pretty good slinging the ball to some no-name receivers out there. Their tight end,
Darren
Waller, didn't do anything, but he was still able to find guys that made some big plays down the field. Now we're getting to the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. We're talking their almighty tight end. You know, their speedster running wide receiver and Tyreek Hill. Like, this secondary for the Patriots, I talked about it last time on last show that we did. The secondary has been up and down for me. Up and down. Like, I know Stephon Gilmore is the defensive player of the year, but he's not necessarily playing at that same level.
It hasn't looked like it so far.
He hasn't necessarily been playing at that same level that he did in 2019. Not to say that he completely sucks now or he's a shell of himself, nothing like that. But he's not playing at that same level. And that just goes for the whole defense. They've taken definitely a step back, I feel like, defensively this season. They're definitely missing some key guys like Chung and Hightower, some leaders out there. But overall, I think this defense has taken a slight step back. We're talking about the high-powered Kansas City Chiefs. It might be a shootout, but it's going to be a shootout possibly for Kansas City. I don't know if the Patriots will be able to put up big numbers possibly to battle with Kansas City once they get to that matchup.
Marv, what do you think?
So I disagree with Mike. I think Derek Carr sucks last week. I don't think he had a good game at all. The Patriots only charged him with 3 players to rush the quarterback and drop everybody else back in the secondary. And Derek Carr looked flustered. He wasn't able. And what do Patriots do best? They take away your best weapon. Who's their best weapon? Waller. What did Waller do? Nothing. That's just a part of what they do.
If you non-existent.
They took him away, but some other guys got the chance to eat.
If Renfro's going to be the one to beat the Patriots, so be it. And clearly, he wasn't going to be the one to beat the Patriots. And how many points did the Raiders put up? Less than 20. I think that the Patriots had a solid game plan with Derek Carr. Had to let him dink and dunk all he wanted to. Wasn't able to do the big plays other than the Stephon Gilmore pass interference, which was probably one of their biggest plays during the game. But yeah, I didn't think Derek Carr looked that great. I'm still pretty confident on this defense. I like what I'm seeing from Duggar. Chase Winovich is becoming one of the top guys on this defensive team right now. You saw some turnovers once again, a la last year's, them forcing some timely turnovers, especially when the team is driving in the red zone. But all of those look really good, and I think you're going to need all of that going up against Kansas City. Now the question is, do I feel like the Patriots can compete? Absolutely, because once again, you still have Bill Belichick on the sideline. He's going to do whatever he can to take away your best weapon. Now, one thing they struggled with best weapon is Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce always has his way against the New England Patriots. Tyreek Hill, they've done a better job with Tyreek. They figured out a system to how to contain Tyreek Hill. I mean, you can't do it forever. At the end of the day, speed does kill. But I would like to see what they do with Travis Kelce. They've been trying to figure something out with Waller. You know, obviously Kelsey's a little upper tier than Waller is, but maybe you try something with Duggar early in the end of the game. Maybe Duggar gets a good look at him. They're going to play a lot of guys on Travis Kelce to try to contain him. And then the opposite side, what we were talking about, this running game. The Patriots are going to bleed the clock. How do you beat Patrick Mahomes? Probably the best quarterback in the league. You have to bleed the clock. And if this running game that Nick mentioned is the 27th, Kansas City has the 27th best running defense. You can be able to bleed the clock, run down their throats with Cam Newton and the plethora of running backs. I think Patriots have a shot in this game. It's not going to be easy, of course, but Cam has shown us that he's not afraid of the big moments. Through all his times in Carolina Panthers against the Seahawks, marching them down the field, I think the Patriots have a good chance against Kansas City.
I do too. I think that they're going to be able to compete. And really, for me, it just goes back to the Seahawks game. I mean, they only lost that 35-30. And you could even make the argument that they should have won that game. They were right there on the 1 yard line and had the opportunity to win that game. And the problem is, my biggest concern is, can the offense do what they did against Seattle's defense against Kansas City? Because Russell Wilson and the Seahawks put up 35 points on the Patriots, right? You got to imagine, and he's the league MVP right now, I would say, but you got to imagine that Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City offense is going to do more or less the same, if not a little bit more. So you have to hope that the Patriots offense is going to be able to put up the amount of points that they did against the Seattle Seahawks. And Marv, you're right. I mean, that's what I was going to say too. They are going to have to use that run game. If they're going to win this game against Kansas City next week, they have to use the run game. They have to keep Patrick Mahomes. We've seen teams do this against Tom Brady and the Patriots over the years. They have to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, and you do that with the run game. You do that especially if the run game is working. And if you want to use Cam Newton, go for it. I really thought they were going to use Cam Newton less as a runner as he has in his past. And, maybe try to preserve him, but they're just not doing that. So if you're going to do it, use him. Run that clock. Let that clock go. Keep Patty Mahomes off of the field. They're going to compete. I don't know if I have confidence that they're going to win this game because, I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs right now. The Chiefs are a wagon. The Chiefs are the best team in football. But I think they'll compete. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. But, I mean, going to what Mike said about the shootout thing, if Kansas City puts up a ton of points and the Patriots just don't,
wouldn't shock me, man.
I wouldn't be flabbergasted by it. I wouldn't be taken aback by it. But I really do think they're going to compete. There's a chance that they win this game. I'm not confident, but there's a chance that they win this game. Listen, I'm all sorts of jacked up about Cam Newton. Cam Newton has been awesome this year. So maybe, hey, go up against Kansas City. Maybe he knows the pressure's there. Maybe he puts on a huge game. I hope he does. But I don't have the confidence that they're going to win this game. Compete, yeah. Win, no. Anything else, guys?
If they can compete, that's all I'm asking for. Like, I'm like you, win. I don't think so. Again, going back to my, predictions going into the season, I never thought that this was a game that the Patriots were going to win. But if they show that they can at least compete with Kansas City, that goes a long way because things can look very different at the end of the season.
Marv?
Yeah. Mike mentioned regression early on the defensive side. One player we got to start looking at is Devin McCourty. There was some funny money plays he had against the Raiders last week, I'd say, that you don't want to see from your safety. So, I'm going to keep an eye on the McCourties and just see how they've been playing lately. There was some soft plays out there that I didn't like to see.
CLNS Media, Patriots Roundtable. Again, Nick Quaglia, Mike Molyneux, Marv Azan. Guys, we're going to be back next week with another set of 2 episodes after the Patriots play the Chiefs. Hopefully, I'm going to assume that we're going to have some big topics to talk about. Guys, follow us on Twitter as well. I'm sure Garrett's got our Twitter handle down there right now. If not, again, I look like a big dummy. Nick Quaglia, Mike Molyneux, Marv Azan. Guys, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for watching.